I am.
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 I am. I am.
I am.
I am.
I am Black History.
We are Black History.
And welcome to a very special edition of Unexplained Cases Medium. We're going to be having a unique celebration of Black history, and this is the first of 3 segments. We'll have a couple more here in the next 2 Saturdays, but you've got Rick Garner, and you've got, of course, Maryam the Medium. Hey, Maryam, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome.
I love that intro.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You never disappoint.
I appreciate that immensely. But we have 2 new faces that are joining us, and one of those we'll get to see a couple more times, as I just mentioned, since we'll have three versions of this special edition. Terri Jude Davis, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. That open was amazing. That felt wonderful.
Well, thank you. So this is awesome to be able to get to know you through this. But last but not least, we'll also have a chance to get to know Mr. Ron Woodson. Welcome to the program, Ron.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. So February, Black History Month. Monday is another chance to be able to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. That you could say that's how this is tying into all of that. But in actuality, this conversation's been going on a little bit. Maryam, basically, I guess we started chatting about this, so probably you should be able to share where this idea came from before we really get rolling with the show today.
Yeah. Well, chatting, so it was really a late night phone call where I was like, you know what? What's going on here? So what was interesting is, so for those of you that are new, because I know we might have some of Ron and Terry's friends watching that don't watch Unexplained Cases all the time, but every Sunday night we do a remote viewing of a haunted location. And those locations that are picked are always haunted, right? They know, everyone kind of knows it's in the history books, right? And so the more we've been doing this show for the last how many months now, we come across a lot of entities and energies that were slave owners. Slave owners are, I have no words for the level of, those are probably the most consistent energies that I would compare to demonic. And that would consistently put me in some sort of position to make my mom text and go, "Don't go in there." And then there was, and then we started reaching out, not on purpose, but going to these locations, and we had a lot of energies that were slaves, obviously. But I noticed that it wasn't the forefront of the conversation. It was like the first time I came across them, I was like, oh, where have you guys been? Why are we always talking about, the military dudes and the army guys and what history says, right? And then all of a sudden these other energies are going, hey, and I'm like, oh my God, what is and it's funny because the one night that I had that aha moment was I spoke with this one female spirit who had so much to share about her life as a slave and what she's doing now out of body to help the movement on Earth, we had a time constraint, and it was just such a powerful moment in exchange for me. I really wanted to hold on to it and do more with it. And it was funny because that night my mom watches my shows all the time. I always reference her because she'll tell me all the good and all the bad. But she was like, I think it's her idea, where she was like, you've got to do something for Black history. And I was like, oh my God, I was thinking the same thing. How incredible to hear their stories and to help them, to help some of them that are stuck. And what is the last point I'll make, which was just such a trip. My last few encounters, I'm not saying this is always the case by any means, but these beings were stuck because the slave owners kept them there just like they did in Body. And when I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? And it was like, what? We have to do something about that. And we did. I mean, on each of those episodes, I think what was just so scary, and I don't scare easily, was how dark these slave owners were. How dark. And they said the same, which I'm not saying I'm surprised by it. I'm saying it was their power, their demonic power in the afterlife, of me having to like gather all these other, beings. And I'm like, I'm going in. Are you coming? Was heartbreaking, but also something has to be done about this. Like these guys need to be addressed and removed. And we did. We removed their I'm trying to find the right word, because for some of those energies and these slave owners specific that I dealt with, I didn't just remove them from the location. We dissolved their energy, and they, and I don't want to say word die or kill, because that's not appropriate either. You dissolve their energy, and they come back together with spirit and their own. But it's like that part of that's done. Like I'm not even. No one's letting that continue on. Like it's been stuck like this. And I of course I have to ask for permission. It's not something that I just walk in and, I'm the boss at all. I'm not, but they allow me to dissolve these beings. And I just want to be able to do more of that, and, or just, bring insight to those that don't know what their lineage look like.
There you go.
That was a lot more than you thought. Sorry, I just got very excited.
That was
I get very excited.
That was a wonderful well of information. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so what we'll do now basically is Maryam and I are going to step into the green room there basically, and turn the floor over to you, Terri and Ron, and we're excited to to learn a little bit about each of you and see what's going on in your circles.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that touched me when I watched the open was seeing all of those kids. It really made me emotional, because we've been through some stuff lately. Yeah. We've been through some stuff this 2 weeks. We've been through some stuff. And when because Maryam and I have known each other, even though we're both under 20, we've known each other for a very, very long time. And I admire so much for the healing that she does. And that's why I really wanted to do this with her, because I think it's important that our stories are told, and more than just, because every year I do posts about the obvious historical Black figures that everyone knows. Right. And what I realized is you and I are both children of icons in their own world. Right. In their own industries. And I forget about telling the stories of people that are in my life. I have people that are in my life that are making changes in their industry and doing a lot of amazing work. And I'm very proud to say that you are one of them. And I wanted to be able to, all 3 of the episodes that we're doing are people that have been in my life that don't need any fanfare. They do it because it's what they love. They're passionate about it, but we all have had a journey. We all have had quite the journey. And it's important to me to keep reminding people that now that you've kind of seen the level of hate that is in our country, you realize what it takes for any one of us to accomplish anything, for any one of us to find opportunity. I always say that, one of the things that my mom always taught me, being an ad exec and being in corporate America in the 60s and doing the things that she did, I really came into the industry thinking that she accomplished that stuff. I'm good. I could just follow right behind her. I'm good. I got this. And it couldn't have been a bigger misconception. And I've gone through all of the things that she went through in another time, which is a very saddening thing. But what I feel today is that I'm able to do this program because one of my friends who is not Black came to me and was very passionate about representation and showing who I am, showing who my friends are. And that in itself is a difference. Right. And we're looking at a female Black vice president in a few days.
Yeah.
And we are looking at so many things that have promise. Stacey Abrams, I mean, it's just showing the human spirit and what can be done when you make it about. One of my favorite sayings of Maryam's is faith isn't believing, faith is knowing. And all of these things have been accomplished by that, resolve that there is a knowing. And I know that one of the things that I've always wondered about is that I've been producing and directing home decor, home design for many years. And even in 2021, I have to say that there's probably you and two other designers that I know that are truly recognized in the industry. And let me do a little bit of bragging first. Ron has been named one of the top 20 Black designers in America. He has drawn his inspiration from his travels with more than 30 countries to date.
Well, that's kind of old, Terri.
What?
That's old.
Oh my God.
It's more than 60 countries now.
Of course it is, Ron. Yeah. And I've been to Santa Monica Beach.
Right.
He, along with his business partner, Jamie Rummerfield, who I adore, co-founded Saving Iconic Architecture, and also the firm Woodson Rummerfield, which is a very amazing luxe designer firm. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, I have a lot of questions for you, but one that I forgot to write down was Jamie is a Latina. And
well, she's Latina and Italian.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's ridiculously gorgeous.
And obviously white, and her grandparents, her family on her mother's side, they've homesteaded here in California.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
So
and
my got a lot going on.
She got a lot going on. And one of my first questions is, being that and being in the luxe design industry, what was it like when you guys first launched this firm? What was it like to go out after clients that were of that tax bracket, we'll say? And what did it take for you guys to establish that trust in the community?
Well, I'll give you the short story on how Jamie and I met and where our design firm started and where it is today. So we didn't know one another. This was 20 years ago. Yes, because we've been in business together 18 years. Wow. And her and I had mutual friends and vendor contacts, colleagues that knew us individually, but we didn't know one another. So, clearly that was before Google. I couldn't Google her, and Jamie Rummerfield she was Jamie Lorella at the time. But she heard my name, I heard her name, right. And I finally said, enough of this. I got to meet Jamie. And I had a dinner party and had her and her husband over. And we started talking business right out the gates. And it was very synergistic that what all of our mutual friends and contacts thought about both of us was exactly of us coming together. Jamie had her own design firm and I had mine prior to this. I think I had mine almost 4 years, something like that. And I think she had as well. And so she had built a great clientele, and I had started to build a really good clientele as well. So when we merged our firms, I mean, we wanted to do the same things. We love vintage furniture. We love classic architecture. We, and at this point, we finish one another's sentences. It's almost scary. We have this. We can just look at one another and we know what the other one's thinking. We don't have to verbalize anything.
Right.
But we set out to do high-end, opulent design, and because that was who we are. That's what we're about. So we opened a showroom. We had a showroom on La Cienega for 6 years, and from that, we thought, oh, we're going to get all these fabulous clients, coming in and out of our doors on, Tony, La Cienega. And that didn't happen. The majority of our clients were other designers.
Right.
And that sort of put our name out there. Even before some of the notable projects that we did. We're known for having this fantastic showroom, and we were designers, and so our work got really showcased from that. And then it just grew and grew and grew, and Jamie and I knew what kind of client we wanted. And I had to chuckle when you were talking about faith, because we relied on faith, and that is what came to us. And so from that, I mean, we have a huge celebrity roster from that. And but going back a little bit, the way my career started, that really blossomed, was through one of our mutual friends, Eric Mathis, who asked me to do a designer's challenge on HGTV, and they liked me so much, I ended up doing a half a dozen of those shows.
I know, I love it.
And I started getting clients from it. And unlike Jamie, who finished her design degree at Arizona State University, I went back to school. I went to UCLA, but I didn't finish because I started getting all these great clients. I had to weigh my options. Do I continue with school, or do I take on these clients and take a leap of faith?
Exactly.
A leap of faith, and here we are 25 years later.
That, and it's interesting you say that, because that happened to me too. Same school, same situation. That, as much as I adored, and I adore that school, everybody that knows me knows how much I love UCLA, but I really wanted to do the work. I just was like, I'm going to New York, I'm going back home, and I'm going to do this thing. And it was a nightmare. The difference was, it was a little bit of a nightmare, because that was a while ago, and the timing wasn't there. I feel like now, for me personally, I'm finding my stride and understanding my roots again, which, remembering who another mutual friend of ours, Timothy Snell, who's a celebrity stylist and designer, said to his sister once, "Do you know whose daughter you are?" And I remember being in a really bad situation on one of the shows I was working on. And that popped into my head. I was like, I'm Shirley Riley Davis's daughter. I'm someone's daughter who beat the odds and did great things and was a good person. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of me. This is who I am. And I think that's really what the spirit is right now for a lot of Black people, is seeing that we have to get back to that true idea that we overcame slavery. We have made strides. We have Oprahs and Shondas and you know what I mean, and Rons, and we have all of these people that are doing things against what is supposed to be. And that is truly the spirit of, I think, what Black history needs to be. That this is what happened under these circumstances. You can do this. you need to carry this on. You need to represent strength and pride and being uniquely who you are. There is no one way to be Black. There are so many different versions of one race, and we get lumped into this is what Blackness is, and it is. You can't even categorize it. It's so many different colorful shades and just different degrees of amazing, you know.
Yeah. And I had that same, I feel that same way, because I had two parents who, Elgar and Buddy Woodson, who pushed me.
Yeah,
I
believed.
I always knew I could do whatever I wanted to do, whatever I set my mind to. So there was never a point in my life where I thought there's a wall there that I can't
that you can't get
over. Just because I was always told I could do whatever I wanted
to do. Me too. And for me, the challenge was that I wasn't shocked by the walls that came up. I was shocked by I made the mistake of always making it personal and not really looking at the fact that a lot of the times is they just didn't want the Black woman in the room, you know, and a lot of times, and unfortunately sometimes, you know, other Black women didn't want me in the room. So it's that fine line that we kind of live in of what is it that we're again, okay, what is my situation right here? What am I coming up against? And moving forward and doing what I do best, and understanding that what I bring to the table is uniquely Black. So
and you, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, to be proud of uniqueness, because I always find it very ironic that we grow up as kids, and it depends on what your situation is, but most of the time as a kid you want to fit in, you know. And so you spend a lot of your young adulthood trying to discover who you are uniquely, and then find your way, you know, from there. And I want to know, what was your first big project like? What was that first big, okay, we're doing this. This is so cool.
So my first big project on my own before Jamie and I merged was a really big client in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, and really large house, great clients. And I didn't have the staff that I have now. I had to do everything on my own. You know, I had to do accounting at night, and you know, all my own drawings. I had to specify everything. And one of the, I don't even want to call it a challenge. I think it was a learning curve, was just how many deliverables go into a project. And this is what I think a lot of people don't understand. This is one of the things that I have a problem with about a lot of these design shows, that, you know, where they think you can do a whole home for $5,000 and make it fabulous. That is not true, unrealistic. That does not happen. But you know, even a smaller project, there are hundreds and thousands of deliverables that you have to all keep straight, and you have to, and it's deadline driven. And you have to stick with the deadlines. You know, you can't miss those deadlines. And when you promise a client that this is when you're going to install, this is when the pieces are coming in, that has to happen. If that doesn't happen, you're over. You have nothing to stand on. And so I learned very quickly I had to be nimble. I had to how to duck and and it paid off. And as I said, I went on to do some other things. And then when Jamie and I merged, she had some great clients prior to us together. And so between my clients and her clients, we brought those into what is now Woodson and Rummerfield, and it grew from there.
I love it.
So, you know, we and our clients really trust us.
Yeah.
And even in the beginning, when, you know, not everyone knew who we were,
right,
that's what it takes. You have to be trusted by your client that you're going to deliver.
Yeah.
And we've done that. And you well know, in celebrity world, you know, Jamie and I signed these incredible
NDAs,
and, you know, I can't even tell you some of our clients.
Yeah.
And so with that, and then some don't.
Yeah.
But they trust that what you get in their home is going to be proprietary, and it's not going beyond there. And so I think that's another reason we've been able to do as well as we have. We're very well recognized in the industry, and we have a great reputation. And it doesn't happen overnight. That has taken years to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, you two are definitely you two are definitely soulmates for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Your styles mesh so well together. I think it's what makes your partnership work. I mean, it's so awesome to be around, because first of all, the two of you are hysterical together. But I always tease you about the book, the coffee table book that you two have, that literally when I got it, I sat down with my snack and beverage and just turned every page and just fell in love with your work. And that's why your clients trust you, because you two you walk the talk, you live that lifestyle.
Right.
You present yourselves that way. So of course someone's going to trust you, or going to turn it out, and it's going to be fabulous, and they're going to love it. And you bring love to your projects because it's your passion.
Right.
And that's really important. Speaking of passion, tell me about SIA. I am very proud of.
Save Iconic Architecture is a nonprofit, and what it is it basically is we do education, awareness, and landmarking of iconic structures, starting here in Los Angeles, but it is grown and it's moved into other states now. But it started because of Jamie and I's love of architecture. Love good architecture. And in Los Angeles, we're fortunate enough to have some of the best architecture in the world. Noteworthy architecture that's right next door to one another. There's no other place in the world really that you could have a Richard Neutra next to a Paul Williams, next to an A. Quincy Jones. That just doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we have that all here. And what we were finding was, over the years, these overzealous developers and wannabe developers were just tearing these homes down to build cheap McMansions that will never be of the quality that the ones they tore down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were fortunate also to be in this rarefied air of interior design that we got to visit these homes. We got to work on a lot of these homes.
Yeah.
And sort of the straw that broke the camel's back was a potential client.
Yeah, I remember that.
She had, it was the old Jim Backus estate, Mr. Howell on Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
And we were asked to come out on a consultation, and we went, and we got into the foyer of the house, and the first thing the client said was, "Oh, well, we're going to tear it down because it's not big enough." And Jamie and I both were like, "What?" We were vocal about it. We were
right.
Why'd you buy this house if it wasn't big enough? And I mean, the grounds were just incredible. The house was fabulous. The house was only, I think it was like 3,500 square feet. And it was in Bel Air. So, that's not a huge house in Bel Air, but it was appointed just perfectly.
Right.
And they were already starting to ruin the house. And Jamie and I knew that, number one, they weren't going to be the clients for us. No. And two, we walked out of there, we got in the car, and we said, God, somebody's got to do something. And that's how it started. We kept saying, somebody's got to do something.
Yeah.
And then another project, it was a Richard Neutra, it was the Chewy House. And that one came up before us. It was in peril. And we really, at that point, we said, no, this is it. And that was really the start of SIA. And that was almost 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. I can't believe that's here. That is the perfect segue. What is the location / place that you want Maryam to investigate?
Well, this person, we're going to Paul Williams, his personal home. That's where Maryam is going to go. I've studied the house. Obviously I've studied and been a fan of Paul Williams since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And little known fact, I mean, his work is so prolific across Los Angeles, but also across the nation. Mm-hmm. He was instrumental in the redesign of the Beverly Hills Hotel, the script on the Beverly Hills Hotel. That's his handwriting.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I always wonder. I've met his granddaughter Karen Hudson, and spoke at length about her grandfather. But I always wanted to know, what was it like growing up and being in that house with Mr. Paul Williams, who was a big family man also. And, when I was a kid, that was sort of part of the Black elite at the time. And my parents were a part of that. My dad was a jazz musician, and all those worlds sort of came together. And so it was, I knew of Paul Williams, as I said, as a kid, and it's shocking to me the number of people that don't know who he is and what he has done and how prolific he has made Los Angeles. Yeah. So we're going to talk about his personal residence, which is in Lafayette Park.
Yeah. And also to reiterate for people who don't know who he is he probably the most famous Black architect designer?
Yeah, he was
the most known. Yeah.
Yes, and he was the first Black architect to be admitted into the AIA.
That's so awesome.
There's a lot of history. He went to USC. He was born in 1894 and he died in 1980. And I wish I could have got a chance to meet him.
Yeah, me too. I would have loved to have met him. So what do you need from us now, Maryam?
She should have all the fun that she needs.
Is it my turn, Rick?
Right. I think it's officially your turn.
All right, cool. That was a great interview. Thanks, you
Yeah,
guys.
that was awesome. Great to be able to get to know some, just a little bit, because I know that Terri had a bunch of other awesome questions for you, Ron. But
I know. Once I started talking to her, I was like,
she'll get me again.
Yeah,
for sure.
Terri doesn't take no for it. That's it.
I'm a producer, honey.
She can't. All right, so this is interesting. Paul, I was trying to not get too much information during the interview because I wanted to be hold back, but excuse me if I break out in coughing. I'm still getting over this cough. So anyway, okay. He's so interesting, not because of everything you guys said, but because of like it's like he's been waiting in the green room to do this. He's a humble guy. At least now he is. So I should stress that, you know, when we're in spirit form, sometimes we'll share characteristics that we had when we were in body so that those that are asking can connect and bond, okay? But once you're in spirit form, those human tendencies don't exist, okay? And so when I speak to you about him, you know, this may or may not match up with his personality and body, because in spirit now things are different. And to clarify, this won't clarify anything. This will bring up more questions that I don't have answers to. You can come back in body and I can still communicate with your spirit. So he may be back in body, but I can still communicate with his spirit. I'll see if I find that information out. I just letting you guys know that can come up. Okay, so I don't know where to go first because I felt two little boys. How many children does he have, or did he have?
I think he had 3. I think.
And girls or boys?
I think there were 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
That I don't remember. Okay.
All right. So some feeling specifically two little energies. They feel more masculine. May not have been boys, but they feel more masculine at the time. Young, running around the house. They were about 3 years old. They feel like twins, so maybe they were close in age, not necessarily twins. But at this time, when they were around this age, between 3 to 5, there was a big change in his life. There was something that happened in his life. Maybe he lost a child. I'm not sure what went on, but at this point in his life, when these kids, I'm seeing these 2 running around the house, things changed for him. He carries a very heavy heart. And when you look at him and you see all that he's accomplished, his heart was heavy through all of it. I'm asking him why. Why was it? Why was your heart so heavy? What happened? I'm feeling, and when I say I'm feeling, it's because I'm trying to interpret his words. I'm not really sure on interpretation of this yet, but it feels like there was something with the wife that was damaging. I don't know if he divorced or married, and I'm on the first wife, but there was it feels like there was something happened in the marriage around that time that was heartbreaking for him. But not only that, he said he made a lot of compromises. He gave up a lot. He agreed to doing things he wished he hadn't. He did things that, looking back, you know, I don't know if I could have done them different. I don't know if I would have had the opportunity to do them different, but more so feeling like I couldn't have gotten to where I was if I didn't. It's like these sacrifices feel like, you know, there was a part of him sacrificing who he was to, you know, he did or said things he didn't necessarily stand behind. I'm not talking criminal. I'm just talking from a, you know, integrity place. He says, I have stories I wouldn't share with my children. I wouldn't want my children to see me as that man. Did some of it get me to where I am? Yeah. But I wish I hadn't. I wish I didn't have to go down that road. Ron, he's addressing you directly. He's hang on, there's so much information coming through. What is it that you want to? I know we need to go back and revisit the heaviness. I understand there's more to it than that. I get that. But what is it that you've been wanting to you've been like reaching out to Ron this whole time? What is it? What is it for Ron that you want to share? This house. this house, he says, was it symbolized something more to him. It was, he said, it's like it breathed life to me. This house had something that I couldn't put my finger on, but I felt like it was a part of me. I felt like it was, how do I want to say, like where I came from, it was me. It was me. It just embodied me. And he says, okay, getting to a piece of it here. He says the foundation you've created, he said, just warms my heart, because the amount of destruction, and he says the amount of destruction with a lot of homes that I saw in my time. He says it's this, he says it's like this, he says, I know it's superficial, but there's this sense of just lack of consciousness when someone comes in and just rips out history. And he says, not all history should be held on to, not all. And he says, it's important that you understand that not all history should be held on to, certain history. And how do you know which one it is? You know, because your heart tells you this is right, this is wrong. He says these homes breathe life. They breathe energy. He says, Maryam, you read these homes when they have energy, haunted energies in them. But understand that even when a home isn't haunted, there's vibration. There's energy that lives in homes. Even when the people, it's been vacant or someone hasn't been there. I agree. I see that. I agree with you. Oh, he's pushing more. Sorry. So he's telling me to he wants me to clarify, just because a home doesn't have haunted history doesn't mean you can't read it and you can't walk through it and you can't experience it. Thank you for that. Ron, understanding how we pick and how we choose and how we know what to save. And he says, listen, there's going to be homes that you want to save that you can't. And it's going to be important that you trust that and that you allow that. He says, allow it to happen, as painful as it might be. There's going to be, whether this is something you've been through already or something coming up. He says, hold on. He's talking really fast. It's a lot of information. He wants you to get outside of LA with this foundation. Not sure if you have, or I didn't catch that, if you've moved the foundation outside of LA yet. It needs to be in the, this might make me emotional. I understand now. He says, I need you to go to where the slaves live, go to where the plantations are, go to where these old homes that have this history. I understand. He's talking to me and he's trying to give you information that have this. This is where this all came up, because, hold on. This history is going to be, there's going to be like this mass destruction of that history. It could, this is just me, it could align with what's happening in the last week or two, I don't know. But he's saying there's going to be this movement where they're going to just bulldoze these homes out in the South, and in these areas that hold our history, he's saying. They hold our history. Just because someone lived there that was a, Civil War or president or worked in he says it's our history. Do you understand that there was more of us on that land? There's more of us living in those homes than the white people. There's more of us. That's our history. That's where the stories are going to be told. That's where the power is going to lie. He's really adamant. You have to do this now in the next 2 years, because something is going to change. There's going to be this, okay, it sounds like he's saying like a governor is going to come in or a mayor is going to come in. He's just going to allow the bulldozing of just home after home after, because these homes are older, they're not kept up. Some of these homes are older, they're not kept up because they have people renting them. They have people that have been living in them that haven't kept them up because they can't afford to. They inherited the homes. There are these really tricky situations, and there's what's interesting is the people that are living there are attached to the home for all the wrong reasons. It's just this selfish sense of entitlement. He says you're going to have the opportunity to go and offer these people a lot of money, buy the home yourself, so you can start taking over this property if you want to save these towns. And he says you'll find that person or people that will do that, that will go in. And I know that people do that now. They'll offer someone money so they can build an apartment complex. I get that. I'm just clarifying that I understand that's not, that's something that happens already. He's telling me, if you're not already doing this, that this has to happen. The South, he keeps saying, Mississippi specific, Maryland, Georgia. Right now, he says, let's start there. Okay, well, that's a lot. And we're going to, he says so Ron, you'll be working with him. He'll be working with you. We're going to find the money, because the money's there, and we're going to buy up all these homes and we're going to save them. And he says, do whatever you have to do to get these people out. They don't need that much money to live and thrive. They'll be happy with what you offer them. Obviously, I'm talking bigger picture. The steps to get there are going to be something that you work out, but he's telling me what this will look like. He's okay. Why are you bringing me back? He's bringing me back to the house now, and he's bringing me back to these two little boys. Did he lose a child?
I think
that I don't know.
Ron, what?
For sure.
He had 3 kids for sure.
Yeah.
Ron, if you're not comfortable telling me this, you don't have to. But I swear to God, I'm feeling like you were somehow his child, and I guess it could overlap with the year you were born. I want to ask what year you were born, but I'm feeling he keeps showing me these 2 little boys running around, and I swear I feel like it's you. One of them's you.
No, not me.
Well, that's what you think, but somehow you were there. That's why I'm saying maybe he lost a child, but you were there somehow. You were his. Is that the heavy heart? Did you lose a child? I'm getting that's right now. That's the overwhelming sense is that he lost a child, and that child was you.
Yeah, he did. He did lose a child, Paul. He lost his son, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Do we want to sit that for a minute? That was pretty profound for me. All right. So we clarified that. So Ron, you can refer to Paul's dad. What question? Any questions you have with this?
Again, I think you answered some of them about a lot of what my thought and feeling was about, and things I wanted to know was what it was like during the time that he came up and was, the only Black architect. He was the architect to the stars. That was what he was coined as. I mean, he worked on every major celebrity's home and design. And just what that was like at that time. He couldn't even sit next to his clients. I mean, I have that luxury now. Celebrity clients, pillars of industry. I sit right next to my clients. So he paved that way.
He's saying it was awful. He's saying that's where he was referencing earlier, where he had to say and do things that compromised his integrity, and that these are stories he wouldn't tell his children. But he understands now that he earlier when we were trying to work it out, what he's come to is I even if I were to go back, everything would have been the same. I couldn't have done it any differently, or I wouldn't have gotten to where I got to, and I wouldn't have been able to pave the way. He says it was awful. My heavy heart, Maryam keeps referencing, is because of that, because I was never free. It was this false sense of freedom that was given to me. It's like this push and pull, and I'm in my home and I have this freedom because of the love that I got from my children. But as soon as I stepped outside those doors, it was different and it was comfortable. And it wasn't, he says, you can look at it as glamorous or this or that. And he says I was never truly happy. I was grateful. I was always grateful. And I wasn't going to stop. But my heart was heavy always because I was never accepted. Never, it's like you turn into this trinket, because I'm Black and I did this, and so it's like, so people would treat him like, oh, he's like like some sort of prized possession. Look what I found. Look who I have, and he's like, there wasn't ever this sense of, hey, I'm human, you're human, let's be human together. It was like either, hey, look what I found. It's a Black man. And it's like, and he does all this great stuff, like shocking. Or it was, what do you want? What do you want? What are you doing? Why are you standing there? So he says, how do you trust? How do you love? How do you enjoy that existence? You don't. I didn't. But I had no choice, meaning I wasn't going to lay down and not be who I was. I wasn't going to stop. But that was uncomfortable. That was just uncomfortable. I wish and I hoped that my children would never experience that. And then their experiences were different, but he holds like these secrets in his heart, and it's heavy, and it's not anything we know. As we ask about his past, it's not something he revels in, and it's more like, I'm grateful that the price I paid got people like you to where you're at, but it wasn't. There's no joy. My family brought me joy. That was it. My work brought me joy. Sorry. Says my work brought me joy. Absolutely. So interesting how he describes it. Like which I mean, it's interesting for me. I'm sure for you all, you relate, but where he says he was either, what are you doing here? Get out. Or this prized possession of like, oh, look what we found. And how much that's got to mess with you. He was able, though, to stay grounded with his family. Like, he didn't bring that into his home. Nobody knew he struggled with that. Nobody knew he struggled with that. And he just continued to, not share that so that his kids didn't have that here. They had their own experiences.
Maryam, my question is, did he feel, after he left body, did he feel like he had accomplished all the things that he wanted to?
He answers before you guys even finish your questions. And I'm like, I don't know what they're asking. Hang on. I got him to laugh. Oh, he's so sweet. Hang on, I'm just having a moment with him. Okay. Ask me the question again, even though I know his answer, because I forgot.
Did he, by the time he left body, did he feel like he had accomplished all that he wanted to?
No. And my accomplishments, no, because you want to see. I'll tell you, okay, this is him speaking, not me. I'll tell you what a Black man can tap into. That is the understanding of how unimportant the physical body and materialism is. And he says that's how it was for me. Materialism not meaning money and fame, just meaning the buildings and doing things. And even though he says I had all these, he says, listen, what I expressed about homes and their life and their living and breathing entities, that all exists. But he says, listen, when your existence does not matter, when your life does not matter, I can't lie to you and say, oh, I was so proud of my accomplishments and look what I did. He said, every day you wonder, every day. And so I say to you, when you live with that daily, nothing matters but those children in front of you, that wife in front of you. He said, no one will ever understand that like a Black man will understand that.
Is there anything that besides saving these homes that he feels that he would like Ron to do or pursue, or message to be, sent? Or
yes, there is. Hold on. Hold on. I love his energy so much. I've just been fighting back tears the whole time because he's such a beautiful, kind soul. Did you not come back? I'm asking him, did you come back in body? What are you doing now? He says, I haven't come back through since then. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to come back through again. I'm just not ready. I understand. You have so much work you're doing from where you're at. Like, I feel that, like, there's so much going on that you're doing. Like, what is this work that you do? I help. I definitely am assisting. I work with archangels. I'm in school, and I'm helping. That's all I can say right now. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so to answer, yes. I've been wanting. This is why I keep showing you the vision. This is him speaking. This is why I keep showing you the vision of the young boys. This is why I was pushing for Ron to understand that he was my boy. Okay, you want to sit with that for a minute. I understand. He carries, this is something that's so interesting is, anyone who's ever lost a child, when you pass on in the spirit world, man, that comes with you. That's not something that goes away. And I don't mean that the suffering stays forever. I mean that it just is with you. It just is with you. I want, okay, so, excuse me. He wants you, Ron, to, he wants you to get into those neighborhoods and get the children, the boys, the children, drawing, architect, yes, but art, drawing. I want you to get to those that can't access you. Get to those that can't access you. Get to those that don't know they have an eye for, whatever it is. He says I'm not wanting to use the word architect because your work could inspire these boys they're not necessarily architects. They're fashion. They're designers. They're artists. They're all these things, but they need to see a male figure that embodies all these things in front of them. He's like, I want you to get in front of children that can't access you. So for me, that interpretation is, lower income. That don't need lower income, he's saying. And he's saying it may not necessarily be you, or you may go in and share your story, but then there's this other person you may meet that's a teacher that works well with youth in getting them excited and showing them and teaching them and, introducing them to this. But it's your story and you being there that inspires, and then someone else, joins in. He says this foundation has to expand. There is so much more for you to do with it. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is about to get big. 2 years. This is about to get big. My recommendation, Ron, is to get into, if you don't already have a daily practice, because you have someone now who has been watching and will continue to watch over you. He's not going anywhere. He's here to help. He's here to give you the guidance and the information that you need to keep to reach this 2-year goal of what he's talking about. Anything else?
Anything else, Ron?
I don't know that
Yeah.
that did it.
Yeah, she's pretty hardcore. Yeah.
It's usually about this time that we ask, like, so you've been on this roller coaster ride. Hopefully you kept your hands and feet inside the cart the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So impressions or thoughts or what's going through your head right now, Ron?
Interestingly enough, some of the things that you said, Maryam, are already starting the process.
Oh, good.
That clearly, for anybody who's watching this who may be a naysayer, you would not have known.
She's the real deal.
That like that got me. Oh.
So like Tessa just said, let's see, that's wow. 4 wows, I think. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
And just to add to that, when Maryam and I first talked about this, and I thought about the people I was gonna ask, Ron was the first person I thought of, and I didn't tell him at all who I wanted him to choose, what location I wanted him to choose. I did not know about the residents, but I kept saying, I hope he does Paul. I hope he does Paul. And then he called me, he said, I have the place. And he said it, and I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And this is why it was supposed to be. He needed that channel to confirm what needed to happen. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
And that's what's been fascinating about every time we do this, whether it's on the usual Unexplained Cases medium on Sunday afternoons or Unexplained Cases live on Sunday nights, guests who are drawn to a location, first thing comes to mind, there's always a reason.
Yeah.
Always a connection. And it may be, you may think it's because of like, I followed their work or
right.
Awesome or whatever. And it's like, hold on, there's something else.
Wait, there's more.
Right.
Well, I also find it so incredible that he was the kickoff to what we're doing because of the information he gave me. It was like, just he was taught. I don't want to say never, but it's rare that I have a spirit speaking to me. And then so he was like, okay, so Maryam, blah, and I'm like, okay, hang on. It's a Zoom call going bad. Like I can only follow so much. But what he said to me about just explaining to me how these homes have life and vibration, and I was like, whoa, that was just to be, just to work, just to have energies that are as high up as he is, teach me. It's like an honor, like how Ron, you feel if he was standing in front of you, which he was just now. It's like you're honored. You're like, it's just an honor. And now and how, I mean, listen, I always say, never be surprised, but always be amazed. All right. Yeah. And you're never surprised when you do this work, but you should always, like, the moment you're no longer amazed by the work, you got to check yourself, because when he was adamant, I lost a child, that was wrong. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep saying it until someone figures it out. Someone will it. He's not like that. And Ron's like, sorry, it wasn't me. And I'm like, dude, I know it was you. Like, listen to him. Can anyone hear him? I'm like, can anyone else hear this? That was really neat. That was like, that was so cool. He's such a neat guy. And he didn't, there were so many moments I wanted to tear up, but he was like, that strength. He was just like, no need to tear up. Just be in it. And I'm just like, he's just like that. To feel that strength is so inspiring. Anyway, it's not about me. Sorry.
Well, and there was a question that didn't get a chance to insert it. So this would have to be a little bit more of your, shall we say, intuition as opposed to a direct question, I suppose. Someone in the chat was wondering, would he possibly be a guide? Because obviously he was saying, I'm not ready to come back in the body, but could he?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, he's Ron's. He was very clear about that he's Ron's guide. And that's why Ron is to, when Ron, whether you have a practice or you don't, that's something I can help you with, but he is going to be who comes through you. He says, you'll get information in writing. So it may be journaling. It may be you don't get the information during the meditation, but a few hours later, you go, wait a minute, you start writing something out. Like he's saying that he's going to come through with the paper and pencils, how he comes through. So just know that there's no one way our guides talk to us. It's usually very subtle. Sometimes they'll hit us over the head if we're really not listening and something has to really shift. But he's a very subtle energy and a very subtle guide, because the father-son relationship, it's going to be very easy for you to tap into that. And he's in a position, it's always hard to say, don't like, sometimes I feel like when I say stuff about guides, it makes people in the audience think, oh, well, I wish I had that. Everybody has this, okay? We're just talking about Ron today. But with Ron, yeah, not him, not you. Or me, for that matter. But he's saying that his voice is subtle. And you may or may not hear it during a meditation. You may hear it after, you may hear it throughout the day. But my point was, before I was going to say that, is that he is going to be working directly with you to align. He says he's actually working to align some political forces so that these homes that were going to be torn down, that's delayed. Yep, I understand that. Okay, so I full disclosure, I know who Stacey Abrams is. I follow the news. I know the work she's done. He's pointing her out specifically that he works with her. And he works okay, now he's explaining. Okay, I'm not going to do a reading on Stacey Abrams. Hang on. So he's saying, it's like, if I could paint a picture for you, it's like he's in this huge office. He has a ton of staff. He's got people above him, people below him. There's all this stuff that he's working on. And he's like surprised that we aren't seeing and experiencing what he is. He's like, show them, Maryam. And I'm like, I'm trying. I don't know how to show it any more than I am. But all this is already in motion. Like, it's just you catching up to it, Ron, and not that you're behind by any means. It's, I think, you already know where you're at and where you're headed. But he's got all this already laid out and things are already being worked on. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, he could talk for hours, so that's
I was-
why. Sorry.
I was about to say, basically, Paul's in here. I'm like, man.
Buckle up, Ron.
That's why Ron needs to connect with him, because otherwise he'll be talking to me all day, and I'm like, oh my God, texting Ron at 2 a.m. Now he wants you to know.
See, Paul's got a lot to say, Ron.
I'll take it.
No, I'll tell you this to clarify. Someone at his level would not utilize someone like me like that. He would require you, Ron, to learn to hear him. That's me doing a disservice to you and him. So he knows better. He wanted me to clarify that. I clarified that.
Nice.
Jokes aside, clarify that, Maryam.
Well, and Marilyn had a suggestion. So this was Ron B., a guest speaker, young urban students used to run a Women's History Month events, guest speakers in the school I work. Suggest you contact local school districts to present Black History Month to expand on the legacy of Williams' work. So I don't know if that's something you...
That would be awesome.
I definitely would.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I definitely would.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had a lot of interesting, in the chats there. Basically, folks have this has been referred to as a deep show. Amazing. I mean, we've had a lot of good comments there. Basically. So, and this has been an awesome show. So it's been fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Get to know Ron, get to know Paul, get to know Terri.
It's been awesome. Thank you very much.
Of the hundreds of homes that Paul Williams designed, the really good ones, there's about 45 of them left.
Wow.
We're trying to get legislation to get all of those landmarked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Because I truly believe in what you said, that these homes have energy.
Yeah.
And I feel it when I'm in these houses. I don't quite know what it is, but there is an energy. And the last one that I was in, and it got torn down, unfortunately, was the Ava Gabor estate in Holmby Hills. And we were guided to go to that house several months before it was torn down for an estate sale. And at that very moment, we said, okay, we got to set out to landmark this house. And we started the process. And again, an overzealous developer tore it down illegally because there were we had a stay. When you landmark a property in Los Angeles, that stops all work or any permits or anything on it. And he went against that. And
that's some karma, man.
Right.
Yeah,
and the sad part is he tore the facade down, which for Paul Williams, that's the calling card. That is the signature.
That's a signature.
And he knew that.
Yeah.
Wow. And sadly, in Los Angeles, the fines are not stiff enough to warrant these developers not to do this. So that's what we're trying to make a change on as well.
Yeah, I mean, the two of you now together, that's going to be so cool to watch. And forgive me, Ron, if you already know this, but when you reference the energy going into homes, that vibration you feel is spirit, right? And I use spirit as an all-encompassing word. It can be broken down. But I tell you that so that when your dad's information starts coming through, you'll recognize, in a sense, because it's that subtle, I can't explain it, I just know it. That'll start to come through. And listen, he's still talking. He's saying, don't try to determine what's me and what's not me. He says, just connect and know that I'm here, and it'll be fluid. Don't get stuck on, was that me? Was that him? Doesn't matter. It's us. We're working together, whether you like it or not. So that, which we know you like it, but he's like, listen, it's done. So just,
yeah, it has to be done.
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much.
So this has been awesome, and so this is our first of three. So Terri, who do we have next Saturday? Who are we going to
next Saturday is I know him as Chip. His name is Robin Aiden Williams, and he is from a family of Black history. His dad was a Tuskegee Airman. His mom was the first Black Rose Parade Queen. I mean, he is an educator. He's lived all over the world. He speaks so many different languages. We went to college together, and he never ceases to amaze me. He's just a brilliant man, and he has a really interesting location that we're going to go see. So I'm super excited. Super excited.
And I think we're doing a little bit later of a time, so we'll stay tuned. We'll let you guys know what time. I mean, he's got that Ron's was a pretty that's a tough show to follow, but we always seem to top ourselves. So
right? I mean, I don't know. We got a challenge right here. Paul has dropped a challenge.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all. Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
It was a blast. Thanks everybody for joining us. Ron, thank you so much. Terri, thank you
for having me. This is great.
Thank
you for bringing this to me.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Everybody have a great day.
Bye, guys.